Hey, what's up everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I'm just sitting in the house chilling, and I kind of want to just talk about the vision I see for the Lakers in terms of what I think they're trying to put together. Now, of course, we talked about this a little earlier with the idea that John Wall could possibly be joining the team with either Russell Westbrook if we're not able to move him, or Kyrie Irving if he's able to come through later on this week, assuming he opts in or that situation at least gets resolved with the Nets, um, without them coming to the conclusion that they're going to go forward with one another. If it does come down to a situation where Kyrie's a Laker, I assume we'll be moving Russell Westbrook automatically in that situation. I think John Wall would make a lot of sense. And what I was thinking was bringing him in, using those two together, as I mentioned in the video. It kind of reminded me of the dynamic that the New York Knicks had going on with Derrick Rose, and I believe it was Kemba Walker. When Kemba first got there, I think it was Kemba Walker. If it wasn't Kemba Walker, it was someone else they had down there with Derrick Rose. I'm sorry, my mind is foggy. But the point was, they had 2 point guards, veteran point guards, and they kind of played off one another. And they both had pretty good years that year. I think it was 2 years ago. So I want to say whoever that was before Kemba Walker arrived, but my mind is foggy. I just don't remember. But I do remember the dynamic specifically involving Derrick Rose. And I kind of see John Wall and Kyrie Irving kind of providing that type of dynamic. Now, normally when we talk about the New York Knicks and basketball on the court, it's not a whole lot of good to mention in regards to that era. But I do remember that specific dynamic and how those 2 point guards played off one another, keeping each other healthy, etc., keeping each other fresh, that kind of thing. Excuse me. And although I think Kyrie Irving can definitely take on big minutes, still should want to demand big minutes. At the end of the day, I'm not really sure if it's in the Lakers' best interest to not have a very prominent point guard in place with him, just in case time is missed for any reason. It's just a smart way to build, in my opinion. And it could create a dynamic where it could be uncomfortable for the point guards, but I think if for some reason they're missing games and we're still winning, they'll be happy the others on the team. If there is any if there is any misunderstanding, I would imagine as the season progresses and those games start to come, they will be happy that they have depth at their position. Because I tell you, man, the truth of the matter is, in all of these situations where players are getting blamed by the media and all these different things, what I usually see underneath all of it is just holes in the team that make the players look vulnerable, that leave them open for critique. You know what I mean? Things that don't necessarily look connected to the fans, but if you dig deep, you can find, oh, it's because that player's missing. It's sort of like in football. If you're missing a certain lineman, well, that tackle's not going to be able to just move over to another side and do his job for the tackle that's missing. You're going to need to have people in place that can do that specific job. And if for some reason that person's removed, now the quarterback's easier to get to, he's going to look crazy out there. It's going to look like the quarterback doesn't know what he's doing, but really the fact of the matter is just that a lineman had to move because another guy got hurt. That kind of thing is connected in football, and basketball works the exact same way. So what we need to do is remove any ammo, I guess you could say, for the media in regards to some of our players as it pertains to what they're not doing and how it affects the teams winning and losing. I guess what I'm saying is you got to provide depth for yourself so that if a guy's missing, it doesn't affect us in such a way where they can really say, oh, okay, well, the team is just terrible because this guy didn't show up, or the team is terrible because this guy is hurt, or he's in a slump and the team can't win. Like, these things are affected by the choices that are made by the front office at the beginning of the season, when they decide to put certain pieces together, when they decide to provide a certain playing style. You know what I mean? When you choose to go small ball, for example, you leave yourself without rim protection. So now that's connected to how the point guard looks, and it's a lot of things. You know what I mean? So this go round for me, it's like I want to use my voice to uh, kind of provide a means of learning from how we made certain mistakes in building the team last year, and trying to see if I can identify maybe, looking at what they're doing now and trying to see what you guys may be seeing as well. Try to provide some insight, and hopefully maybe even point out some things that maybe I see that we could do, and maybe those ideas can be taken from me and ran with as well. I think that any sort of input from Laker Nation in regards to building our team up, constructive, um, input is probably something that the organization would welcome. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, um, Laker Nation is a family, I believe, and at the end of the day, also, we're all about winning. And we've had some struggles doing so over the last couple of years, and it has started with how we've built this team. So at the end of the day, I think everybody's pointed and laughed at some of the things that have went wrong, but it's time to start learning from some of those mistakes. And I think it starts with how you put certain players in position to not look bad on the court. You can't do nothing about off the court, but you can make sure that they have adequate backups. You can make sure they have adequate rim protection. You can make sure they have various things that, you know, will make them better. Now, granted, you can't build the perfect basketball team. Nobody's putting together the Warriors today. Certain things you just have to live without. But, given the fact that we have the type of talent that we have, it's not like they don't cover up a lot anyway. If we're bringing in a Kyrie Irving, have Anthony Davis, have LeBron James, it's not like you're sitting there trying to plug up a million holes. They're going to plug up several of them just off of the sheer nature of their talent. What we need to do is just get them the complementary things that make them, make their jobs easier and ultimately keep them durable. So I'm thinking depth. I'm thinking talented wing players that can play on the defensive side of things, that can switch, and ultimately just continuing to look for upside, as the Lakers have been doing. I love the Max Christie pickup. I think that kid is going to show us some great things over time. It's going to be, hopefully we don't ask him to do too much too soon. But at the same time, given what he does naturally, I think he can really help us. I like Scottie Pippen Jr. as well. I did some homework on him today, found out what type of player he is. And what I've learned is he reminds me of Josh Hart, to be honest with you. And after looking at him play for about 10, 15 minutes in various highlight reels, that's the player he most reminds me of. He doesn't remind me as much of his dad at all. He reminds me of Josh Hart with a little more speed. He's an offensive player who attacks the rim and has some nice mid-range packages as well. Does a lot of up and under pump fake stuff like that. Kind of also has a little Jalen Brunson in his game as well when he gets into the paint. Has a lot of pump fakes, as I said, stepping up and under moves to kind of get your guys jumping. He's really good at faking out defenses and doing up and under moves and stuff like that. I really like his game, man. He's an attacking player. He's going to put a lot of pressure, as we said, on the rim. So, and the thing about Scottie Pippen Jr. is he's super strong, like Josh Hart. But he's more athletic than Josh Hart. That's the thing. He's, the way that he's able to dart around, he has some of his father's athleticism. And then on the defensive side, he's gonna have to do some work, but he has the type of intangibles that you like to see defensively. He's scrappy. Where he's gonna have to work the most is behind the arc, though. He needs to work on just overall getting his rhythm shot down. He doesn't have a whole lot of confidence from behind the arc in college, from what I saw. So that's where we're gonna have to really get him going in the G League and really work with him. Before he's ready to be a part of what we're doing. But you can clearly see that he will get there, and when he gets there, he's going to be an intricate piece to what we do on both sides of the floor, but specifically offensively. He's a bucket. He really is a bucket. So I like him a lot, man. Um, I still have yet to do more homework on the other gentleman that we picked up, and I don't have his name in mind, but I know he's a 41% shooter, and super excited about doing homework on that particular player. So, it's still early. I don't know people's names yet, but you best believe I'm gonna know them very well before it's over with, and we'll be rooting for their success for sure. And it's just a testament to the good work that our front office is doing. And I mentioned this before, and I haven't heard too many people mention this. I didn't do my homework on this, so I'm taking this person's word for it, trusting them. But from what I understand, someone said that they thought that we were putting together the Michigan State coaching staff. 2 or 3 of the guys that we got already have Michigan State roots, from what I understand. You tell me. Max Christie's also Michigan State Spartan. So that right there tells me that Magic Johnson is very much behind all of this, because he is making sure that we have a very strong Spartan point of view. And now that I think about it, yeah, they're Michigan guys anyway, but it is definitely Magic, because Rob Pelinka is a Wolverine, so I know it's not him behind this. But all in all, I like what we're doing. Like I told you guys once before, Izzo's one of my favorite coaches. I grew up appreciating Michigan State Spartan basketball, seeing them win. So, I know what they do is proven. And I'm pretty excited about us picking up Max Christie. And, of course, I'm sure you guys have already heard the fun facts about the number 35 pick and the fact that it was also a Michigan State Spartan once before named Draymond Green, who went on to have 4 NBA championships and a Hall of Fame career and all this good stuff. He tweeted and said, this kid must be an all-star since he was picked 35th from Michigan State. History tells you he must be an all-star. So, yeah, man, hopefully that can be the case for Max Christie. At this point, you look at him and you say the intangibles for him to be a good, solid starter in this league on both sides of the floor is obvious. I mean, it's obvious. It didn't take long to see what type of player he can be. He's going to have to continue to put on strength. Of course, work on his overall game, work on his learning how to become a pro. But I think in a good 3-4 years' time, this kid is going to be a starter, and he's going to be locking people up. I'm very excited about his defensive upside. He's going to be able to, in theory, guard players that are very difficult to guard. Players that dribble very, very fast. Players that can move very, very fast. He has it in him to be wiggly defensively, and that is a very rare trait. And so if we're picking up Kyrie Irving, and he's going to be guarding Kyrie Irving in practice every day, good luck, league. Good luck. That's all I got to say. You telling me that Max Christie's going to have to deal with Kyrie Irving's dribble packages every day? That's his training mode? Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Because I tell you, Kyrie's going to get him every time, but you won't because of it. It's going to be one of those type of situations. So I'm super excited about what our defensive possibilities can be when you have the type of players in practice that are going to be going up against our youngsters. It's bad enough they got to go up against LeBron and AD. But dealing with Kyrie Irving and how he dribbles the basketball, if we're able to land him, I'm super, super excited about what our young players are going to have to deal with on a night in, night out basis, just trying to stay in front of this dude. And how that's going to be able to simulate just about any and everything they're going to see out there. Because ain't no one better. That's the beauty of the situation. There's no one better. So, that's the type of thing that I think about. You're going to make others better just by being in practice, being yourself. And so that's why I think it's also important for Kyrie Irving to be locked in, man. Be locked in. Because for myself, I don't know how Brooklyn looked at it. I don't know how Boston looked at it. I don't know how Cleveland looked at it. But as a Laker fan, my mentality is to not only make this team successful, but to make future Laker teams successful. So I'm always looking at how we can make other people better. Acquisitions like John Wall and LeBron James, in my mind, are supposed to make other people better because they're going to assist the basketball at all times. They're going to always look for people to get shots and make them stronger. And as you do that, You build the value of your overall team, and your asset class grows because of that, and you stay in contention forevermore. This is the theory. This is how I think. So for me, that's what it's about. I feel like I bring in Kyrie Irving, and if he's locked in and he's looking to be the leader that he wanted to be when he initially got to Boston, if he could now be that person after all he's been through, he gonna help lead this team. He gonna help lead this team. You know, he's gonna help lead this team, because at the end of the day, Anthony Davis is gonna handle business defensively. LeBron James is gonna do the bulk of the heavy lifting, but Kyrie Irving is gonna be the closer. He gonna be the one breaking you down with 2 seconds left on the shot and taking the shot. We know that. It's gonna be him. LeBron's gonna find him. It's already proven, and it's gonna work. We just gotta make sure they have a good enough team around them to supplement whatever their weaknesses will be. And we need to be honest about those weaknesses and anticipate them before they come. That is most important, and I think the Lakers are doing a good job. That's why I like the Christie pickup. That's why I like the Pippen pickup, because we want to get younger. We want to stay quick. We want to stay defensive. We want to supplement any chance of those players being missing with talent that can keep up with whatever we're going to be seeing. Now, we know, as I said, we can't build perfect, but if you look for upside, you maximize your opportunities of doing that. And so I love what we're doing. I like the direction we're headed in. I think it's so very important that we get deals anywhere we can. You know what I mean? Anywhere we can. And I know that doesn't necessarily bode with the conversation that I often have about guys taking the max amount of money and all of that. But the way I see it is, with the specifics and needs of this year's team, we need guys that are ready to sacrifice. It's that simple. It is literally that simple. Because we're going all in. We're throwing everything that we have in our future at this season and next season and the tenure of LeBron James. So we need everybody who's here to be locked in, ready to win the championship. Not just as it pertains to their attitude, but as it pertains to, being as smart as we can about building the team. That's what it's about, I think, at this point. So doing so means trying to trade Russell Westbrook's contract. I guess that's what I'm boiling it down to. We really have to be, excuse me, very, very intent on creating that cap space flexibility for this season, whether it means trading him for some role players or, obviously making the trade for Kyrie Irving that would send that contract out somehow. Because that is most important. We are not going to be able to go forward with a win-now team if we don't have that represented in more productive basketball play. It's not a slight on Russell Westbrook at all. Really, it's not. It's just the contract and what it is the team needs, as we always say. So, gotta move that thing, man. We can't. If we're unable to move it, then we just have to live with our results. But that should be priority number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because if we don't move it, we are not in a win now position. It is that simple. We won't have enough to do what we need to do. And so that's part of it. I don't know if THT's contract is like that or not. And I say that because I think we need to value him as a potential wing at this point. Because it's so hard to find wings out there. And because he does have the metrics he has. And because he is clearly going to get better. It's probably best to anticipate him getting better rather than to anticipate him regressing and playing like he did last year. It's best to assume that you can see forth what he's going to be a year from now and just kind of don't overreact to him not being that at the beginning of the season. Because at the end of the day, we're not wrong in the read of picking him up and putting him on our team. We just haven't been right in how we've paid him and how we've played him, in my opinion.
That's all. We haven't put him in positions to look his best, and we gave him too much of our cap for what it is that we needed for ourselves. So that's all that's wrong with THT. He's a very good player. Um, he has some fantastic mechanics that he's going to have to master, and he's best with the ball in his hands, I believe. But I also look at his body type and think he can play some three. So we need not just frivolously give him away, knowing that the three spot is so difficult to replace at this stage, especially in this free agency. You're going to look up and lose a lot of athleticism, letting him go and not replacing him with someone who can do the things that he does. So that is something that I don't think $11 million is the worst thing in the world for THT this upcoming season, given the fact that we need small forwards down there. So look, if we can get another small forward that we really, really like and replace him, cool. If that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. If we can get Cam Reddish, I don't know if that's an upgrade at all, because both of those players are going to have to work on their development. And I preferably would like to have both of them on the same team. But, if that's the answer to get out from under the contract, and I guess that's what we have to do. But yeah, I'm not as quick to give up on THT just because of that small forward position being so scarce. Not quite there. So, yeah, certain things I'm looking at. Really like Wenyen Gabriel this year. He's definitely going to be an important piece for us. Got to empower him. I'm not happy that we didn't bring back 40 Jones. I really think we need to consider doing that. I understand that we let him go because we wanted to give a two-way contract to two other players, which I'm totally happy with us finding new players to try out. But when you see the way he played in the last couple games of the season, and you understand what type of body type he has, you understand that he puts the ball on the floor himself, you understand that he rebounds and plays a little defense, I would not be quick to give up on that player. Not that one. I've seen us do this thing before with Gary Payton. I've seen us do this with David Nwaba. I've seen us do this with Thomas Bryant. I'm telling you, do not do this with 40 Jones, Lakers. Don't do that. Don't do it. Because what ends up happening to us is our scouts make excellent reads. They be getting the right players. And then when we get them in positions, we do not keep them. And then they get scattered around the league. We do this time and time again. And I always say we have some of the best scouts in the league. Why? Because if you look at all these different players that used to be Lakers, it's these same scouts that found these dudes, man. We just never keep them. And it's kind of what Draymond was talking about. They make it so difficult for, they make it almost like you're penalized for drafting well. You know what I mean? Because they make it so impossible to pay these guys after a while. So hopefully they figure that out someday. So the scouts' hard work can actually be represented in the type of excellence that they're providing their franchises. You know what I mean? And the work that these great prospects are doing themselves, obviously. So that's something I want to throw in there as well. I think we have some of the best scouts in the league, and I don't want us to second guess ourselves by not giving those guys a chance to develop under our umbrella. 40 Jones should be kept. Trust me on that. You keep that big body player, man. So that's something I want to throw in there. Other than that, it's just good stuff, man. I can't wait to see the summer league. I know it's coming up in a couple, maybe a week from now or something like that. Should be very exciting. I know we picked up another player today. I don't have his name. I'm sorry, you guys, but I didn't expect to keep up with all the summer league ads as they come. But when those games start, we're going to pay attention to who stands out, start figuring out who we want to keep on the team and who maybe we should move on from. But all in all, I think the Lakers are doing a great job in this offseason of keeping the main thing, feeding the media the information that's necessary to feed them for our interest, and ultimately putting ourselves in position to have some leverage in this offseason. I like how Rob is playing everything. Preparing to keep Russell Westbrook is the smart way to go. Telling everybody we're willing to keep Russell Westbrook is the smart way to go. And whatever happens, we have all our ducks in a row because of it. So I think that's a smart way to play it, and I'm on board with that. So, yeah, all in all, I'm a happy Laker fan, man. It would have been nice to have won the championship, but If you can't win the championship, you want to have some young prospects and some new talent coming in that you could be excited about. So that's not something I was anticipating this offseason. Um, I still have my questions about how we'll be able to ultimately build this entire team. But judging how we're looking for value and finding it, I'm optimistic that we can put together something really good, man. We already have championship core, Anthony Davis coming into the offseason ready to work. Bron is already doing his thing. I know Kyrie's in LA from what I understand. It seems to me that the team's coming together. All we got to do is just get the particulars together. And obviously Kyrie's situation is specific to himself, because if Brooklyn gives him his money, he's going to stay there, and that's what he should do. But I don't honestly anticipate that being the case. I think he's probably out of Brooklyn because it's probably in their best interest to move on, and it's in our best interest to move him in. So that's what I think is going to happen. Who knows, though? Only time will tell. Obviously, Wednesday's the day we'll know what's what, and Westbrook will probably opt in, and we'll see what Kyrie does. Probably likely opt in as well, and then I think we'll trade them both for one another. I don't think Westbrook lands in Brooklyn, but I think that's going to be the meat and potatoes of what happens there. I really do. I think that makes all the sense in the world. So that's what I'm going to say, and we'll see what happens, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for rocking with me.